Criticizing Confucianism was the most socially acceptable thing in revolutionary China. Christianity is the major religion in the West. It's less socially acceptable to criticize minority religions because they're often already persecuted by Christian-dominated society. That is, in progressive circles, it's less socially acceptable. If you live in a rural area like me, suddenly criticizing Christianity comes with more dangers. I once had a classmate snitch on me to the vice principal for making her feel unsafe, because I was arguing with other kids about Bible verses, specifically Leviticus, in drama club where many kids made fun of the only student in the school who wore a hijab without any consequences.
Leviticus is awesome to throw at Christians. What hypocrisy specifically were you talking about?
I live in a Muslim-majority country. We, as the secular people, almost always criticize Islam and right-wing Muslim politicians who use religion for enriching themselves and ruining the country to the ground. Not to talk about billions spent every year to mosques and lots of schools being converted to religious schools. If in an alternate universe for some reason at some point in history your country's majority population accepted Islam, today you would be asking why is criticizing Islam way more acceptable than criticizing other religions?
I think whichever the religion is in majority at a particular part of world, will get criticized a lot there.
Can't speak for anyone else, anywhere else, but from my experience in the US. I was raised Christian, so felt comfortable criticizing Christianity when I got old enough to see how people in power warp the Bible to suit them. Also, here, our government is in the pocket of evangelical lobbyists. As I get older and learn more about the world, I despise most religions equally, as most of them seem to be used to control, oppress and go to war. Yes, there are cool people of all religions, but the fundamentalist, militant, zealots' actions far outweigh any positive aspects of religion. IMHO. I hate them all, it's just more comfortable to criticize the familiar.
Plus I'd argue that we're in the midst of yet another religious revival in the US, where the religious population is very politically active. It ebbs and flows in the US. The result is a visible politicization of religion that defies the nation's founding principles and drives non-religious people fucking bonkers. For Christians in America, this creates a virtuous cycle where they push new laws under the pretense of being persecuted, then claim persecution when everyone else pushes back.
Because, at least in America, Christianity is thrown in our faces everywhere and halts a lot of social, political, and judicial change. Politicians and most conservatives use it to justify a bunch of backwards decisions. Being pro-life is fine, but criminalizing it and standing outside of an abortion clinic yelling at vulnerable women already making a hard choice are all too common, and then they use their religion to justify these shitty behaviors. Some hate gays and trans people and somehow justify that with their religion. How the school curriculums should be and trying to ban CRT. A lot of classic American literature. And lately even some fucking math books. American history is taught in some states completely wrong, and most of the time, these books cite they were doing God's work, and bias wording like that. Whether you are Christian or not, it is used to make so many decisions that we live with. This wouldn't be a problem if it wasn't for the wildly varying cultures and religions America has. Some schools in the South basically feel like you're going to church.
As a Christian who definitely notices this. I think it's because Christianity is much more prevalent in everyone's lives. We see it creep into government, in the US, and there's an argument to be made that most of the West's natural rights are heavily influenced if not created by Christianity. It's also more socially acceptable to assume everyone celebrates the Christian holidays, but no one ever says Happy Hanukkah or Ramadan to me.
In North America and Europe. Edit. Fixed since unintentional formatting.
This subreddit should be called r, too afraid to answer.
R, unpopular questions is probably more fitting.
If it makes you feel better, most of us hate all religions equally.
Yeah, I hate when people try to equate any religion with a racial group. Religion needs to be criticized, and it's not racist to talk negatively about any belief system.
Possibly because it's not as closely tied with ethnic groups as other religions? And maybe because of evangelicalism, the idea that they need to spread the idea and gain additional followers?
Ethnic groups makes a lot of sense. Thanks for putting that thought into my head. I think it's also to do with how Christianity hasn't been so persecuted historically, especially in America. Different sects don't agree with each other and Protestantism versus Catholicism is still going on in the UK and Ireland, but generally Christianity hasn't been judged, or prejudged, as much as other religions, at least in America, probably due to its perception as a white religion.
The majority of English-speaking Reddit users are from predominantly Christian countries where it has by far the biggest effect on our lives.
Here in the US, no other religion is trying to cram their ideas into every facet of life the way Christianity is.
Most of us could not give a fuck less if Christians stood on the corner shouting their beliefs. It's when they are asking politicians to pass laws in the name of Christianity. American people which declared that their legislature should make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, thus building a wall of separation between church and state. Thomas Jefferson. Depends where you are. In the UK there's a lot of tension between the Muslim community and every other group, at least in my city. All sides are very vocal on the topic. It's only young liberals that criticize Christianity and try to defend other faiths, despite them knowing nothing about those faiths.
Yeah, if I said, Jesus is a cunt, some snooty old prick would be like, oh my. But if I say, Muhammad is a cunt, then I can fully expect some death threats and possibly even some fragile little pussy taking it a bit too far. I mean, I honestly don't care if you are Muslim or Christian or Jewish. It's all a bit ridiculous. However, if your God can't even take an insult, then maybe that God is a bit shit.
In the United States, Christianity is the only religion where politicians and activists have attempted to violate the United States Constitution establishment cause. Anytime someone states that America is a Christian country, they are directly denigrating America by disregarding our founding fathers and the establishment cause of the United States Constitution.
The border around your PFP makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside.
It's not. I have people ask me to pray with them and try to witness to me fairly frequently. The moment I tell them that I'm non-religious, they usually become hostile. Media can make fun of Christianity, but individuals can't.
Because with a majority American and European cohort of users on Reddit, it's punching up at a massive international organization that is incalculably rich but which still finds time to consider itself a victim. When someone suggests ***** maybe ***** there are more ***** holidays **** going on in December than **** just Christmas ****.
This, beyond the bounds of just Reddit or America, Europe, punching up, is the hallmark of democracy. Punching down is the hallmark of autocracy. When Christianity no longer has an outsized impact on laws and politics in a pluralist society, criticizing it becomes offensive, and something only intolerant, small-minded people do.
As far as America is concerned, I don't need to fear a Hindu organization striping me of my human rights. Christian evangelicals play a direct role in my life despite me not practicing their religion. I'm not saying this is good, but, in the US at least, I'd say because it's the most common religion and people generally are not oppressed due to it, in the US. Instead, they are often the oppressors. It's similar to why it's more socially acceptable to criticize the majority race in a country or the gender that historically holds more power.
Most of us live in America and have Christianity shoved in our faces and affecting our lives. They tried to sentence a woman for murder in Texas for getting an abortion. Those religious extremists are just civilized Christian ISIS. Because most of us either started out Christian or are surrounded by Christians. It's like I don't bitch about Melbourne, Australia. What would I say about it? I've never even been there. I'm sure it has problems, and if some of them become big enough to make it to international news, I can say, well, that sounds terrible. I sure hope they figure that one out. When it comes to my hometown though, I could write an entire book about what personally grinds my gears. I also have a lot of opinions on cities within driving distance that I don't live in but that I visit semi-regularly or whose votes affect my life. So why would religion be different? I have some general opinions on various religions, but I'm never going to criticize them with the same intimate knowledge that I have from having been raised Catholic. And I'm not Mormon, but if they insist on disturbing me when I'm out in public, I'm going to have some strong opinions on that too. But like, Sikhs? Shintoists? Baha'i? I'd have to have a lot more contact with them than I do before I could complain about them properly.
I make fun of all religions equally, so it's all good from me.